Greetings, Starfighters. Welcome to the next episode of Season 2 of Shameless Cashgrab. And continuing with the theme from yesterday's episode, you may remember I mentioned that I had the misfortune of deciding to watch Hard Bodies the same day that I was getting hounded on Twitter by the incel movement. Well, our next movie, the 1980... I probably should have looked a little closer at that, shouldn't I? Haha. The 1985 comedy Private Resort, with Johnny fucking Depp. Yeah, Johnny Depp is in this movie, and guess what I saw posted online today, as in the day I'm recording this? Yeah. You know, I probably did make a mistake with this set, but you know what? I paid for it. I'm going to watch the whole damn thing, and I am going to talk about these movies. And I will try to be very nice to you fine folks at home and not spend the entirety of the Private Resort review lecturing you about the whole separating the art from the artist thing. And it's because, it's like, people always say, you have to separate the art from the artist. It's like, no, you don't really have to. You can, but, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, when it comes to Private Resort, I'm not gonna. Alright, so now I've watched 1985's Private Resort, and let's go ahead and jump right into the plot summary. This one comes to us from Letterboxd.com, where I have an account, by the way. You can follow me there. I'm Arkle, of course. Jack and his buddy Ben check in at a posh Florida resort, planning to spend every hour in hot pursuit of gorgeous babes. I didn't write this. But their plans hit a major detour when they try to bed the wife of a conniving jewel thief. They'll have to outsmart him, a nasty security guard, and an obnoxious jock if they're ever going to get a moment alone with the girls of their dreams. I know that was kind of short, and I know what I said last episode about finding more in-depth plot summaries for the movies this season. And I really did try with this one, but I couldn't find one that was just a summary. The longer plot descriptions I found on the various movie websites I checked, the longer they were, the more likely they were to be incredibly snarky, and this is my show. I do the snark around here, damn it. So, you may have noticed who's in the movie from the cover art that was shown at the end of the last episode, but you know who else is in this one? Rob Amaro. Remember him? From Northern Exposure and Quiz Show. I wonder what he's been up to lately. And I'm also pretty sure in a very early scene in the movie I spotted Eva LaRue from CSI Miami. Very briefly. It was only for a second, and she had no dialogue, but I'm pretty sure that was her, just like as an extra or something. Yeah, I had a big crush on her during her time on CSI Miami. I wouldn't say CSI Miami is a good show, but it is enjoyable in a way that a lot of police procedurals, or procedurals, I can talk, or as my friends on Tumblr call them, copaganda, aren't. It's fun in a way those aren't. And that at a certain point, the show didn't just cross the line between exaggerated forensic science like that you could see on the original CSI or on Law & Order sometimes, and out-and-out science fiction. It pole vaulted it. It's almost admirable, especially in the later seasons, it's almost admirable how, unlike its sister shows in the franchise, CSI Miami just stopped giving any fucks, and I love it for it. Yeah, I actually own the whole 10-season run on DVD, and I've been toying with the idea of doing a show like Alison Pregler's Baywatching, but with CSI Miami, and can you tell I am desperate for anything I can grab onto to avoid actually talking about this movie? I mean, if noted spousal abuse enthusiast Johnny Depp only had a small role in the film and the DVD cover was just being misleading to capitalize on his later fame, like some re-releases of obscure older films will when one of their stars makes it big, I could just talk about how bland the cinematography is, or how predictable almost all the jokes are, or how character actor Hector Elizondo is completely wasted in a generic 80s movie villain role, Or how we're about 6 minutes in and I don't think Rob Morrow has actually closed his mouth yet. Or how clunky the expository dialogue is. Or how some scenes might have actually been a little funny if they'd been shorter. Or the fat jokes and, oh my god, the Quaalude scene. You know, because drugging women to make them want to sleep with you is a trope that hasn't aged poorly in the slightest. Okay, yeah, fine, the character didn't actually use them, the pills, but he was clearly considering it before the woman he was talking to disrobed of her own volition. Speaking of that character, Shirley was her name. I'm not sure exactly what religion they were insulting with that character. I'm just going to go ahead and say most of them. And of course, between all of the stuff I already listed, we get the casual racism and a nutshot that all happen in less than a minute. And that is, of course, after one of my least favorite character tropes of all time, the perverted child. This kid's gotta be, 10? Pretty sure I was not that obsessed with seeing boobs when I was 10. I can think of exactly one movie where that kind of character was even remotely funny, and that was in The Last Starfighter. And to be fair, there was more to Lewis than just his age-inappropriate magazine collection, so you can make a case that he doesn't even count. Honestly, I could read you a list of TV tropes page titles, and that would be as accurate a description of what goes on in this movie as an actual description of what goes on in this movie. It's like it was made by someone who understood that some early 80s comedies were successful, but not why they were successful. I actually kind of wish this movie was worse than it is, because that might actually give me something more interesting to talk about. Sadly, because the plot is so generic and the jokes are so predictable, the most interesting thing about it, and not in a good way, is the one topic I'd rather not spend the whole episode on, and that is Johnny Depp's douchebaggery. And also the drugging. That probably should actually be above Johnny Depp on the list of problems with this movie, considering that's actually in the movie, and not something that happened years later. I really should have gone for the Breakfast Club cash-in set, shouldn't I? Granted, one of those movies co-stars Matthew Broderick, who comes with his own set of problems. Well, also, that set doesn't have Hard Ticket to Hawaii on it. Okay. I just gotta stick these next few movies out, because I have some cheesy, over-the-top goodness coming very soon. Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Just hang on for Hard Ticket to Hawaii. That will make this worth it. Some random thoughts I had while watching the movie. Yeah, I know this is a short episode, but like I said, there's really not that much to say about it. Actually, now that I think about it, the random thoughts that don't fit in with my overall point is actually longer than my overall point. Holy crap. Just looking at my script here. Okay, back to the random thoughts. Oh joy, Andrew Dice Clay is in this. Because what every movie needs is an overrated comedian who doesn't respect women. And his part of the movie just wouldn't freaking end, even though it had no real bearing on the main plot whatsoever. Or, to steal a line from the Todd in the Shadows Bad Movie Beatdown crossover episode, fill it to make the movie longer. I swear, the sequence with Clay's character and his drunk wife or girlfriend, whatever, who cares, somehow bends space and time and manages to be longer than the movie it's in. Also, 3 people are credited with the story on this movie. It took 3 people to come up with this. Only one writer, but 3 people to come up with the story. 3 people. Second movie in a row where we have tits less than 4 minutes in. I'm sensing a trend here. I mean, okay, yes, there's going to be nudity in Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I've already seen Allison's review of it, so I know that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than 4 minutes in. That's all I'm saying. I mean, okay, I guess a little TNA here and there is fine. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail on what I consider acceptable nudity, because my mom is the editor on this, and that is just going to be awkward. But just At least wait until after the credits are over. Is that unreasonable? Am I being unreasonable here? Tell me if I'm being unreasonable. Okay, let's try to be fair here. Some of the slapstick comedy works. I mean, even if it is mostly predictable. Remember how I mentioned the humor being predictable earlier? However, most of it's forgettable. You laugh a little and then you move on. In fact, trying to think about it, I think I can remember exactly 3 moments in the whole, 85-minute movie. And yeah, none of the humor really sticks with you afterwards, like it does with the truly great comedies of, well, any decade, let alone the 80s. I mean, Real Genius, this is not. I haven't seen Real Genius in several years, and I can still quote that movie, because the humor sticks with you. But speaking of humor, while it's not funny per se, the part where the grandma character manages to beat up the jewel thief, the grandma character was actually left out of the plot summary, so hey, there's a grandma character in this. That scene was kind of cool. I mean, I imagine it was supposed to be funny, and I didn't particularly laugh, but I didn't hate it either. I especially liked it when she sent him over the balcony railing. It was a ground-level hotel room balcony railing, but hey, I'll take it. So, final verdict. Yeah, I know, this was a short one, wasn't it? I suppose it's small consolation that this movie kind of sucks anyway, regardless of the future behavior of one of its leads. I mean, this isn't this isn't Edward Scissorhands or Corpse Bride or Pirates of the Caribbean 1. Hell, it's not even Pirates of the Caribbean 4. I hated that one. But yeah, for all the grief I gave Hard Bodies, at least it doesn't have a scene with one character telling another to slip I can talk, I swear. To slip a woman some lewds. As in Quaaludes. They were popular in the 70s. Fuck you, I'm not that old. At least as far as I know, none of the actors from Hard Bodies are abusers. So hey, on that count, Hard Bodies wins. On the other hand, though, more of the jokes in Private Resort land. Not by a lot, but still. I'm not really going to start talking ranking list just yet, since we're only 2 movies into the set. We're only a fifth of the way in. But unless one of the other movies has full-on sexual assault in them, Private Resort is an early contender for bottom of the list. Also, I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing both Johnny Depp and Rob Morrow's asses, and I think I would have been happier for it. So yeah, next movie in the set, Spring Break, I think. I don't actually have the DVD box on me right now, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, the next movie is not Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I'm sorry.